In a quiet town nestled between hills and habits, life moved in a predictable rhythm, familiar, safe, and slow. It was the kind of place where everyone knew your name, and nothing much ever changed. Among its steady pulse lived Clara, a 32-year-old cashier at the local grocery store. She had chestnut brown hair that curled slightly at the ends, and hazel eyes that held a kind of soft melancholy. Eyes that had seen enough of life to feel weary, but still carried traces of wonder. To most people, Clara was just part of the background, pleasant, polite, dependable. She greeted customers with a practiced smile, scanned their items with quiet efficiency, and offered the occasional, "Have a nice day." Her routine rarely wavered, and no one asked much more of her. But they didn't see the other side of Clara, the one that came alive once the store lights dimmed and the automatic doors closed for the night. In her small apartment above the laundromat, Clara lived a different life. The walls were lined with canvases, some finished, others still waiting for color. Jars of brushes sat in old coffee mugs. Paint stained her clothes, her hands, even her kitchen table. Here, surrounded by oils and acrylics, Clara was free. She painted emotions she couldn't say out loud: loneliness, hope, joy, grief. Every canvas was a piece of her that didn't fit neatly into a grocery store uniform. Art had always been her way out, her secret language, but it was also her burden. The rent was due every month, the electric bill never missed a cycle, and groceries didn't pay for themselves. With each unpaid invoice, doubt whispered louder. "You're just a cashier," the voice would say. "Who are you to think your art matters?" And so, her paintings stayed hidden, stacked behind doors, tucked under beds, rarely shared. That changed on a gray Tuesday in early spring. The rain tapped against the store windows like a reminder of everything Clara kept bottled up. Amelia, a regular customer in her 70s, approached Clara's lane as usual, floral shawl draped over her shoulders, cane in hand, eyes kind and curious. As she reached for her coin purse, she noticed a small canvas sticking out from Clara's tote bag. "You paint?" Amelia asked, tilting her head. Clara hesitated, unsure whether to lie or deflect. Instead, she gave a quiet nod. "I'd love to see your work someday," Amelia said, smiling gently. "Don't keep it to yourself, dear. Art is meant to be shared." Clara thanked her, trying to keep her voice steady. But those words stayed with her like wet paint that refused to dry. That night, she unpacked her brushes with a different kind of urgency. She painted until her hands ached, until the doubts drowned in color. It wasn't just therapy, it was possibility. The next morning, Clara did something she'd never done before. She picked up a flyer for the town's annual art contest. It was a small event, but it mattered. Winners had their work displayed in the local gallery for a month, and sometimes someone important took notice. She debated entering. What if her work was too raw, too personal? What if no one liked it? But Amelia's voice echoed in her mind. So she chose 3 pieces, each one a fragment of herself, and submitted them, heart pounding as she handed over the entry form. The days that followed were a storm of nerves and second guessing. She nearly withdrew twice. But when the exhibition night arrived, Clara dressed in a simple navy dress and walked into the gallery, trying not to bolt. The room buzzed with chatter, artists, critics, families. She felt like an imposter among them. Then she saw her paintings, framed, lit, and standing tall on the wall. A hush fell over her anxiety. They belonged there. Amelia found her by the punch table, glowing with pride. "You did it," she whispered, squeezing Clara's hand. When the announcer read Clara's name as the winner, she froze. Applause broke out. Her legs moved on instinct, carrying her to the front. Her voice trembled as she thanked the crowd. For the first time, she wasn't invisible. The prize money wasn't life-changing, but it bought better supplies and paid a month's rent in full. More importantly, it gave Clara something she'd never fully had: belief in herself. She signed up for local art classes, met others who spoke her creative language, and slowly began to share her knowledge. Before long, she was teaching weekend workshops for children, many of whom had never held a paintbrush before. Clara still worked part-time at the grocery store. The bills didn't go away, but everything felt different now. She stood a little taller. When customers asked about her weekends, she no longer downplayed them. "Yes," she'd say, with a confident smile. "I'm an artist." Her journey didn't come with fame or fortune, but it brought her purpose, connection, and the joy of seeing others find their voice through color. And it all started with one kind word and the courage to be seen. Behind every quiet soul is a story waiting to bloom. Sometimes it just takes someone believing in you until you can believe in yourself.